Hello and welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky This Week from May 23rd through 29th, 2021. There is an eclipse of the moon this week, unfortunately not visible from the Atlanta area. There are bright planets in the evening sky and the morning sky to look for. Start with Sunday, the 23rd, 9:45 p.m. facing the southwest. If you're not sure which direction is west, where you live, figure out where the sun appeared to set or disappear, and that's the direction west. Over toward the western part of the sky, this is a huge picture of more than half of the Earth all at one time on your horizon. There are a couple of bright stars, about a third of the way up the sky, pair of stars, the Gemini twins, Castor and Pollux. The planet Mars is right near them. High at the top of the sky, there's a backwards question mark or the curve of an umbrella handle that marks the head of Leo the Lion. And we've got a waxing gibbous moon. As the moon moves along its orbit, we see more or less of the lit up side. And this is when the moon is more than 1/4 of the way around its orbit, but not quite to the halfway point, to what we call the full moon. It's a waxing gibbous moon on the 23rd. Those two stars, the heads of the Gemini brothers, Castor and Pollux, easy to find in the evening sky. Find those two just where the sun appeared to set. And on the horizon from there, you can't see through the trees on this picture. The planets Mercury and Venus, both closer to the sun from Earth, are visible. And at the top of the sky, really high, the constellation Leo the Lion. That sort of looks like what it's supposed to be, a curve for the lion's mane, bright star Regulus for the heart, a couple of stars for a tail. Leo is a large constellation. If you want to measure it across the sky, stick your left arm straight out in front of you, lock your elbow straight, spread out your fingers as wide as they'll go. Put the tip of your left thumb on the nose of Leo, and your pinky finger will stretch back and lead 2 hand spans to get all the way across Leo the Lion. It's a large one at the top of the sky. Outside, you don't get the circles and words. See if you can find Leo and the Gemini brothers just with your eyes. Now, the real sky is way bigger than this screen. So tell yourself to look big and wide and find those constellations and stars. May 25th to 26th, the moon is full finally. And that's when we have an eclipse of the moon. For us in the Atlanta area, we'll be able to see the very beginning of the eclipse as the moon is setting. So the whole eclipse won't be visible for us. Where the moon is near that constellation of Scorpius, one of the summertime constellations, a long fishhook pattern or J shape with the moon balanced right on the scorpion's claws. This total lunar eclipse, when the moon is full, sometimes it passes through the shadow of the Earth. This year, we don't get to see it. From here in Atlanta, the sun rises before the eclipse happens. This is a not to scale diagram showing how the moon moving along its orbit sometimes passes through the shadow of the Earth. The sun makes the Earth cast a shadow, just like you cast a shadow outside. Earth's shadow is long and cone-shaped, and if you take a cross-section of it, it looks like a target, a light outer ring and a darker bullseye. As the moon moves through that shadow, first through the light outer bit, then through the darkest part in the middle, then through the light again, we get a lunar eclipse. For us, for the Earth, that happens on Wednesday, the 26th. For us, the penumbral eclipse, the very first entry of the moon into that lighter outer band of shadow, is at 5:44 a.m. The total eclipse is all the darkest the moon is going to get. That's 7:18 a.m. Eastern time, but the sun rises at 6:30. That kind of blocks out most of the eclipse for us in Atlanta. Early that morning, if you want to imagine what it looks like, just as the sun is coming up, a couple of bright planets in the early morning sky. They look like stars, Jupiter and Saturn. The moon will be setting just as the sun is rising. And as the moon sets, you might notice a little bit of darkness, a bit of shadow on the left edge. If you zoom in a little bit, it might look kind of gibbous again. And a very nice image from Universe Today. There will be a bit of a shadow on the left-hand edge of the moon. That's just as the sun is coming up. If you want to watch the event, it's being streamed on a number of bases. Time and Date is one of the sites you might try. And you can watch the whole thing happen in real time, just not in our sky. After the eclipse is over, the next few days, the moon is still visible if the sky is clear weather anyway. Early in the morning again, there are two planets, Jupiter and Saturn. Now these are about halfway up the sky at this time of morning. The moon is moving in on them from the western part of the sky. And those two planets, again, using your left hand measuring stick, stretch your left arm straight out, lock your elbow, spread out your fingers as wide as they'll go. Put the tip of your pinky finger on Jupiter, the bright star-like object, and your thumb will point towards Saturn. It's a little farther away. It's not exactly a handspan. It's a little farther away. So on the 27th, the moon is about that far from the planets. By the next morning, moon's moved along its orbit. Planets have too. And by the morning after that, Saturday the 29th, we're getting to a waning gibbous moon along with those planets. And that wraps up May 23rd to 29th, 2021. Thank you for listening. As ever, please check Fernbank Science Center's website, www.fernbank.edu. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for Friday evening virtual planetarium programs and Saturday science, and have a great week.